Hey guys, Ms. H back here with another video for today. First to open up with, I would like to remind you to be turning in your missing work if you've got some. You can email me and let me know what missing work you'd like to complete. Some of them, the assignment itself may have to be tweaked just because you're going to be turning in from home, so you might not have access to some of the stuff that we had in class. So email me first, let me know what you'd like to make up, and we can talk about what you might need to do in terms of tweaking the assignment. Remember, you can also be doing the extra credit opportunities. So some of you I know have already been doing the journal. If you want to send, if you have a physical journal and you want to send me pictures, go ahead and do that, and I can go ahead and give you credit for the days you've already done. If you're doing an online journal, just share that with me, and I'll try and get those grades updated as we go. You could also do the process paper worth up to 100 points if you want. Just email me for details on that. And then new this week, which has been sent out to your parents as well, if you want to do some extra credit, I'm offering for any chores or anything that you're doing to help out around the house. So we're coming up on about a month of this. I'm sure people are restless. Maybe some things aren't getting done as much as parents might like them to, or even you might like them to. So to give you kind of a little extra push to be helping out at home as well, I'm offering extra credit for any just kind of household chores that you're doing. So what you would need to do is just send me a before, during, and after pic. So let's say you choose to make dinner. So before making dinner, the process of making dinner, afterwards, those kinds of things, cleaning your room, before after pics. I've gotten already a couple of those, which have been really great. And if you have already been doing stuff and your parents want to email me that you've done that, your parents can feel free to email me and let me know, what you have done. And I'm happy to give you extra credit for that. Engaging in some personal growth while we're waiting to see what's going to happen with school next week. So that said, we're going to move on to what we're going to do today. And today I'm going to do a little tutorial on how to create a budget. So before we get to that, I'm going to show you guys my document scanner that I built. It took a lot of effort on my part, and it was just really grueling and no fun at all. So I'm going to show you guys the document scanner that I built to do this and some other videos that we have coming up. All right, so here we have my document scanner that I built. So I built it out of Legos, and you can see it's got a nice high platform here for me to put my phone on. So that way when my phone camera is right here, it's looking down at the document right here. On it, we can see pretty clearly for counterweight as well. We've got Thanos and a shark that are attacking. And then in here, we've got Gamora, who's riding a dragon, and Spider-Man, who is manning a cannon. And then up top here, we've got Star-Lord, who is providing aerial support on the Benatar. That is actually the name of the Guardians of the Galaxy ship from Avengers Infinity War. It's named the Benatar after Pat Benatar's smash hit, Hit Me With Your Best Shot. So nice shout out there to 80s pop culture from director James Gunn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set up on how to create a budget. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start here with our little tutorial on budgeting. So first thing up is, why should you make a budget? Here we're starting at the beginning of the month of April, and so this is a really good time to kind of just sit down and reflect on the amount of money that you bring in and the amount of money that you are putting out. Just quick note, got some music going on in the background, so it just feels more like the classroom a little bit. So why should you have a budget? Well, first off, you want to make sure that every penny that you spend has a purpose. When you bring in money, it's really tempting to just go ahead and spend it on everything that you want without putting any aside for the future, because who likes to think about the future? Not most people. So when you make a budget, you make sure that all of your money has a reason. You know where every single penny is going. Another big reason is that unexpected expenses do happen in our lives. So this is a really great time to also have this particular discussion. I'm sure that we all know people who are unexpectedly out of work right now due to the global pandemic. So they're not able to go to work because their jobs aren't quote unquote essential, or their pay has been cut because their job, maybe they work in a restaurant and they're only able to do takeout orders now, so they don't need as many staff at any one time, so their hours have been cut. These are kind of unexpected losses of income, but there's also unexpected expenses that you can have. Maybe your car breaks down, maybe something else on your car needs fixed, roof needs replacing at your house. Having every penny have a purpose means that when you have these unexpected expenses, you don't panic. Via MarketWatch, we know that 74% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, paycheck to paycheck means that they essentially don't have anything set back in savings. Every penny that they earn is going towards bills, going towards expenses. So they aren't able to set aside anything in terms of savings, able to go, on vacations and visit places. And 30% of Americans have no emergency savings. And an emergency savings is a very particular kind of savings. And most people recommend having anywhere between 3 and 6 months of your expenses saved up in a savings account, just in case the unexpected happens and you find yourself without a job for 2 months, but you still have to pay rent, you still have to make your car payment, those kinds of things. So we want to get away from living paycheck to paycheck. We want to make sure you have money in that emergency savings so that you are not panicking when things happen. So the first thing to making a budget is you want to look at your income. So your income is going to be the money that you make. And what I've done for the purposes of this particular budget walkthrough is I've just kind of assumed that you're making $7.25 per hour, which is the minimum wage in the state of Iowa, and the federal minimum wage as well, times about 20 hours per week. So this is, I think, a pretty average amount that most students will earn or will work during the school year. During the summer, you may work more than that. You may even get up to the 40. But for most students, for most of the year, you're probably only working about 20 hours per week. And so what that gives you is $145 per week gross. So what does that word gross right there means? Well, in this particular circumstance, gross means the total that you make. The total that you make, in this case, before taxes. So taxes for most of us get taken directly out of our paychecks. We don't have much say in it. And frankly, that's probably for the best. As we learned before, Americans aren't particularly good at savings. So if we just had to set aside our own money for taxes and have to pay them once a year, a lot of people would probably be in a lot of trouble. So there's going to be 4 main taxes that come out of your paycheck. There's going to be the federal income tax. So the federal income tax for our earner making $145 per week, you're going to pay $7.19 of that to the federal government. Now this amount, the federal government, this isn't going to pay for things like the military, different federal programs that are meant to help people in the states. FICA is the next one that's going to come out. This is also known as Social Security. Now, the purpose of Social Security is to provide some guaranteed retirement income for most Americans. It also helps provide income for Americans who are disabled or are unable to work. And for our earner, they are going to take out $8.99 of each paycheck to go to taxes. Medicare is our healthcare system that is set up for, again, the disabled or those over the age of 65 to make sure that they are receiving medical care. And that's going to be $2.10. That's going to be taken out of this earner's paycheck. And finally, because we live in the state of Iowa, Iowa is also going to take out their state income tax. There's a couple of states that don't have a state income tax. Texas, I don't believe Florida has one, and I don't think Alaska has state income tax, but Iowa does. So out of each paycheck, you'll pay at this amount, the state of Iowa, $1.29. So when you take your gross amount that you earned, $145, just your straight up $7.25 times 20, you got $145. Minus the $19.57 that you're paying in taxes is going to give you $125.25. $1,000,000.43 net income. So this is what you actually get to take home. That's what net income means. And even more math. So to figure out how much you will actually make in a year, or to give yourself a good guide as to how much you make in a year, you want to take that net income. You don't really want to budget based off your gross income, because that's not really the amount of money that you're going to get in a month. You're going to get this. So we're going to take that 125.43 and we're going to multiply it by 52, which is the number of weeks in the year. So assuming you work your 20 hours per week, every week of the year, you're going to bring home about $2,508.60 in a year. And then we would go ahead and divide that by 12, obviously the number of months in a year. And so this is going to give our earner $209.05 per month to budget with. Now that doesn't really sound like a lot, but we're doing this example for somebody in high school that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of bills that they're really responsible for on their own. So when you're creating your budget, you want to make sure that you are setting aside things first in categories, from the most important to the least important. And so the very first thing in your budget that is the most important is actually you. You want to pay yourself first, and this means the money that you put into savings so that you have it when you need it. So a good goal to reach for is 10% to your savings. And you could do this 10% to a single savings account. You could take 10% and split that up to a couple different savings accounts, depending on what you're saving for. But for our earner, this is going to be about $20 per month set aside in savings. The next category in your budget should be your fixed expenses. So your fixed expenses are things that you have to pay every month no matter what. They don't change. So these are going to be things like your cell phone bill, your car payment, your car insurance. You can't just decide not to pay these things. You can, but you don't have them if you do. So you're going to want to set aside money for these before you set aside things for your discretionary expenses. And discretionary means what you want to do. So your discretionary expenses are the things that you want or that you can control how much you're spending. So this is going to be on things like restaurants. In class before, we've talked about how lunch at school, if we ever make it back to school, lunch is free for everybody. Lunch is free for everybody. So you don't have to pay for lunch if you don't want to. Now, that's not to be said for, the quality of the lunch or whether or not you like what it is. But at the end of the day, you don't have to pay for lunch if you don't want to. So any money that you spend on lunch is a discretionary expense. So setting aside money to pay for that if you go out to restaurants. If you buy your own groceries beyond what other people in the house provide for you. So maybe you don't like the brand of peanut butter that they usually get, so you buy your own. Whatever it is, groceries are going to be a discretionary expense because you can control how much you spend on them. Things like how much you buy, junk food versus not junk food, name brand versus generic. That's going to change how much you're spending on this. Clothing is also a discretionary expense. If you can make what you have last through the next month, you don't necessarily have to buy any more. If you do have to buy something, you have a lot of choice in how much you spend on it. Maybe you go to Goodwill or stuff, etc., and buy something used instead of buying something brand new. And then finally, entertainment. So not really finally, but last one I'm going to mention is entertainment. So this would be things like going to the movies, buying music, those kinds of things. You don't have to do those things. If you choose to do them, then you need to budget for the amount of money you're going to spend on those. All right, guys, so YouTube has a 15-minute limit on the videos that I can upload. So that's going to be the end of part the first for us today. Tomorrow, I'll upload part the second. So that's going to cover exactly how to make the budget and also a discussion on shopping around for the best bank account for you. So I will post that tomorrow. As always, check Google Classroom to see my Insta and follow me there, or send me an email if you have any questions. Bye.